My name is Becca.
My name is Zach, and this is our story.
So the year was 2020, and we wrote that we were believing for a house and for financial stability, and we felt like those two things kind of went hand in hand. So
During that time, we just had a lot of debt, credit cards, student loans, and we, for quite a while, had just been doing a terrible job of managing like the money that comes in versus the money that's going out, and really knowing even where we stood financially, really.
we were living in Lincoln in a tiny apartment in a really bad part of town. So 9th and 10th Streets go north and south, and it's basically like a big thoroughfare coming into town and a big thoroughfare going out. And we were sandwiched in the middle of them in this apartment complex. And it was just a really unsafe neighborhood. Like Bjorn grew up going to sleep to the sound of ambulances and fire trucks like every single night. And so that was like his norm and that was our norm. But we didn't have any place for the kids to play, and it was just not conducive to like growing a family. So
for us, it was really, we felt like he was calling us deeper in our faith, because at the point that we were at, we really didn't see a way that we could feasibly buy a house. And so we felt that he was calling us to trust him over what we could see in the natural and what seemed possible.
Mm-hmm. So we, when we felt like God put on our hearts to start thinking about a house, we just decided to start looking.
And that was in February of 2020.
Yeah, and we kind of felt irresponsible even doing it, because at this time we were like about to enter into a pandemic. Our finances were not in a good place at all, and earlier, the previous fall, we had gone and talked to a bank just to see what we pre-qualified for, and it was like an embarrassingly low number, and we were like, well, this is great, but we'll try anyways. And so we just started looking at houses, and then we found this realtor, and I don't even know if he was a Christian, but he became our realtor, and he like represented hope to us, because he started like, he gave us a bank that we could connect with, and he's like, go check out this bank and have them see what you can pre-qualify for. And we ended up pre-qualifying for a much higher number than the previous place, and we were like, well, I don't really understand why, because our finances haven't changed at all,
Right.
But we'll just go for it. So we started looking at these houses, and he like kind of represented hope to us, which was great. So that was the first thing, is starting to look at houses in February.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Milford?
And then in March, my work shut down, so I was unemployed for 2 months during the height of our house hunting. And the financial stability piece of that was that even though I was unemployed, God still continued to provide for us in such a way that we made greater strides to paying off much of our debt than we had for years past, even though I was unemployed, which was pretty miraculous in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And so we continued to hunt for houses. We found a house in Milford that we were really attached to. We were really excited about it, and it was the first house that we put in an offer on. Mm-hmm. And we were praying over it, and we were really believing that was the home for us. And then we heard back that they had accepted someone else's offer, which was really discouraging for us.
We were crushed. We felt like God has brought us to Milford. Like, first of all, we thought we were supposed to have a house in Lincoln, and then we weren't getting any opportunity. Like, there were no houses within what we were looking for, and so we're like, okay, so we'll try for Milford. And we found this house, and we were like, oh, it's perfect, it's beautiful, it's exactly what we're supposed to have. And then someone else got the house, and we were like, well, maybe we should just not even look anymore. Yeah. We got so discouraged.
And so we had been going to Milford and praying over this house weekly after we put in the offer. And so we went back one last time and basically prayed over the family who got it. And we felt like God put in our hearts while we were in Milford that even if Milford wasn't the place for us, that we should be looking outside of Lincoln. So we started to expand our search. That was April, wasn't it?
And then April was when we saw this little house in Ceresco, and we didn't really think anything of it. Like, the pictures were terrible. It was like in this weird little town that we'd never heard of. But a door opened, and we just like felt like this really quiet sense in our spirit, let's just go look at this house even though it seems weird. And so then we made the drive out there and we looked at it, and it, like, everything on our list that we had written down, like, was checked off from one thing after another, and we were like, well, we can't deny this, like this house is actually exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, so we prayed over it, and we put in an offer, and then from that point on, it was just a series of open doors. We had our offer accepted. Our home inspection went really well. We actually had an inspector who is pretty familiar with old houses. Our house was built in 1888, and so he went through and he inspected it, and then he went back and re-walked through and inspected it again, and he told us, sure, I must have missed something because I can't find really anything wrong with this house.
It was amazing.
And so that was just another open door. Becca was 9 months pregnant at this point, and so we're trying to decide, like, should we induce before we close? Should we try to like wait it out and see if we can make it past our closing date?
Yeah.
And that all worked out.
We're like, either we go for it right now or we wait a year. And we felt like God was saying, go for it now, like keep moving. And so we kept moving. Like they accepted the offer. We had this great inspection. We had a great appraisal. And then when it came time to close, we actually didn't owe anything. They wrote us a check, which covered the upfront costs that we had to pay at the very beginning. And so we basically paid nothing to purchase our home, which was just crazy, and it made absolutely no sense. And we ended up moving in a week before I gave birth, so the timing was pretty great.
And in order to close, I had to be employed, and I got a call to come back to work just a week before we were set to close, and so everything just completely fell into place.
Yeah.
And it was just really miraculous. Like we could not have accomplished any of that on our own.
Yeah, I think that was the reason that it was such a faith thing for us, you know. And up until this point, we'd been taking little steps in our faith all along the way. But there was nothing that was like, we could have kind of done it on our own, you know, like up until this point. And this was like, okay, God, like our finances are kind of a hot mess, and this is a pandemic, and I'm super pregnant, and Zach doesn't have a job. So this is like the last time that we should be looking for a house or even considering it. And God said, this is the time for you to be believing for it because you're going to let me do it all. And so then he just like, we literally felt like we were in the passenger seat, and we're just like watching it all unfold before our eyes, and we'd like do this tiny little thing, and then God would just do this huge thing, and we were just watching it happen. It was crazy.
It was really, really exciting.
Okay, each of us say our own name?
Yes.
Okay. We should try to say this is our story together. That'd be fun.
That doesn't sound natural at all.
We're gonna try it, it's gonna be great. Okay, I'll go first, then you go, and then we're gonna say, and this is our story.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. My name is Becca.
My name is Zach.
And this is our story.
I can't say that with a straight face.
Do we need to do it again?
Try one more time.
Okay. You're right, it's unnatural.
Yes.